So namaskar all, a very warm welcome to all our esteemed panelists, dignitaries and attendees. Many thanks for being part of our 13th Foundation Day event and day-long deliberations. Today's day-long event has 6 dedicated panel discussions touching upon various stakeholders, let it be international bodies, government, corporate and media houses. And current one is third in the row. And we look forward to listening to various ideas, experiences, and the best practices from industry leaders across sectors such as hospitality, retail, IT, banking, BPO, and others. We are working for providing employment and equal opportunity workplace support to PWDs, and we are really very thankful to our 1,000+ hiring partners for the same.
Now I would like to call upon our next speaker, Ms. Guneet Sethi ji. She is from Chandigarh. She is Director, HRD and CSR at Gilard. She is presiding over HRD and responsible for CSR activities of the company and continuously striving to make efforts to bring positive changes in the immediate society with regard to various social concerns, be it environmental or gender discrimination or lack of equal opportunities for disabled people or other social welfare issues. Guneet ji has been advisory board member, state advisory board member at Chandigarh, and really has been helping a lot at our Chandigarh Training and Employment Center. So we really appreciate that, Guneet ji, and thank you very much for sparing time today. And I would like to ask you a small question that please share your journey of hiring persons with disability in your organizations, and what really inspires you to be part of Sarthak mission and championing the Chandigarh Center as a board member. You are on mute, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sudhir. And my co-panelists are from big brands and they are making excellent contributions for inclusion of people with disabilities. I congratulate them for their achievements. My company, Gilard Electronics Pvt is a small scale unit, but it is very well known in electrical and automotive segment for its professional capabilities and achievements. For sharing my journey or my company's journey in this regard, I'll go back to the year 2012 when I received an email invite from CII to visit a job fair organized by Sarthak in Chandigarh. I went there not with the intention of hiring, but with the intention of experiencing a new kind of job fair. So the experience gave me, mixed feelings of sadness, of distress, of seeing so many people together at one time, at one place, who are facing physical challenges. But at the same time, I also felt strong admiration for them, for being fighters, for striving to get a position in the society where they'll be respected and they'll be financially independent. So it was really impressive and worthy of respect. I realized that we at Gilard were so incomplete in the practical implementation of a claim that we are an equal opportunity provider, because we considered that there'll be no bias on the basis of gender. We have 50% of our employees who are women. And of course, no bias on the basis of caste, creed, color. But we were so unaware of insensitive to this group of the society, we never gave it a thought. So I strongly felt that as employers, we have a moral duty to remove barriers, more barriers to participation, to unlock this potential of people with disabilities. And with this sentiment, with this thought in my mind and heart, I decided to experiment with inclusion, and truly speaking, without calling a board meeting, because I was afraid of apprehensions and maybe rejection of the idea. So I thought I'll take small steps so that no eyebrows are raised. So after 6 months, I received the next invite again from CII for Sarthak job fair. And This was in August 2012, and I visited this time with my HR manager with an intention of hiring. We selected 4 people who had one leg impairment. We had to consider the constraint in accessibility of a constraint of the building. So we selected people with one leg impairment, and they cleared the first round of interview. They were called for a second interview the next day. 2 females, 2 ladies, young girls, they turned up for the second round, and both were included, safely kept in office areas, given desktop jobs instead of taking them in production areas. Also, an engineer, hearing and speech impaired, with a degree but no experience since many years after getting the degree, was called, again with the intention of hiring, and I sensitized the QA head, but during the interview, the QA head was really not open to it. And during the interview, she was alone with the candidate, and after the candidate came out of the interview room, I could see a baffled look on his face, and in spite of I confirming him the job, he did not turn up. So I realized the challenges which were there. Inclusion can and does happen when people have positive attitude and are willing to make it happen. So although I always, have been interacting with the teams one day before the differently abled has to join their team, and we have a very good work environment in the company, and people are generally very supportive and open to it, and they welcome such people, which is very, very important. It matters a lot if people down the line are supportive. But in the absence of a documented policy of the company for hiring people with disabilities, resentment from the middle management could be sensed. They somehow in their minds had this thought process that such people cannot perform up to the level of others. And also I realized that the interview should not be conducted by a single person. There should be a panel of people so that personal resentment does not come out during the interview. So learning from experience, I took steps to ensure my HR team is ready to make appropriate changes to the work environment throughout the hiring process and beyond. So one was to provide a flexible but structured policy, hiring policy that works for all. Educate the hiring team to remove conscious or unconscious hiring bias. Then the traditional assessment methods don't work for everyone. So it was important to have a broader perspective in terms of how we evaluate the skills of differently abled. And it's not just about hiring for the sake of it. So we need to think what happens after hiring. To retain the differently abled, we need to give them provide them whatever they need to be successful at work. And trainings and a conducive work environment is very important. And sensitizing all employees at all levels on inclusivity and banishing misconceptions. So my HR team made sure during the hand-holding that they have friends, they have companions, and they don't feel left out, and they are not treated as inconvenience, and they are included for participation in all the events of the company, like the annual function stage performances, the participating in sports on the annual sports day, and other competitions during the year. And they are also included in these special plays made by the company on social issues. So some of them are actors as well, and they are acknowledged, accepted, and recognized for what they are by all Gilardians. And they feel worthy of their roles and feel associated. And they have a special privilege to have a tea party with the chairman, which the other Gilardians don't get the opportunity to do. And to ensure our differently abled persons do not confront isolation and exclusion, I realized that we need to speak to them also, take their inputs also. So we take their feedback on the work environment they are experiencing, and So, you know, with a structured policy designed for implementation, acceptance got easier at all levels. And when numbers are decided and targets are set, like my other panelists were also mentioned, that numbers are very important. So when numbers are decided as targets, they get monitored and evaluated in routine process. So we had people with hearing and speech impairment, one leg impairment, cerebral palsy, and people with slow learning abilities. I'm so proud to share particularly two cases of two engineers whom we had hired from Sarthak Job Fair. One is a young lady who, after working for 2 years in office area, requested that she be shifted to production shop because she is an engineer and she is doing very well. She's a senior engineer in a molding department. And the other young gentleman who is partially hearing and speech impaired, he is an engineer too, and he is now heading the QA department. And he is leader of the people from whom, after joining, he was initially learning how to read technical drawings. So this is how our journey has been. And your question that what inspires me to be with Sarthak, Dr. Sudhir, if we as individuals have had a fairly good career, a good life, I think we reach a stage where we are mature enough to realize that we need to give back to the society. So I take up various social activities as CSR projects of the company, and at my personal level also, I try to do some of these things. And talking specifically about my connection with Sarthak, I would say it's their honesty of purpose. The ethical working of Sarthak pulls me towards extending my helping hand whenever I am contacted as a board member for contributing in any way possible. And I used to visit the training center occasionally to interact with students, to share with them what are the expectations of employers and that they need to work hard to come up in life and, you know, generally be good citizens and such things. And I also used to have some light activities with them, like giving them, you know, New Year celebration, Environment Day celebrations, and inviting them to perform on our stage on our annual function. So these kind of things I was doing with them. And post-COVID, all businesses and NGOs, they're facing some issues. And due to some reasons, Dr. Agarwal has taken a decision to shift the training center of Chandigarh, in Chandigarh only, but to a new location. So currently I'm supervising that. And I feel by now many companies have questioned the employment model, and even small scale industries are doing it and are experimenting with different work arrangements. And more companies are coming up with an opinion that a blended workforce works better for the company. And if we give equal job opportunities to all, that's the way to the future. So I hope the Chandigarh Training Center of Sarthak also will again come up as strong as before and will be doing very well. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Guneet ji, your thoughts, your last message.
My message to all the HR people sitting in small and medium-sized companies is that an organization that excludes anyone due to their physical challenge cannot develop a work.
Guneet ji, Hindi में message दीजिएगा for PWDs.
हाँ जी, मैं पहले मैसेज दे रही हूँ for people who are HR people, small और medium scale industries में. तो उनको मैं बताना चाहती हूँ कि अगर वो एक्सक्लूड करते हैं फिजिकली चैलेंज लोगों को अपने वर्कफोर्स में नहीं लेते हैं, तो वह एक अच्छा कल्चर डेवलप नहीं कर पाएंगे अपनी कंपनी में, जहाँ पे कि जो एम्प्लॉयज हैं वो भी फकर करें कंपनी के ऊपर कि वो उसके साथ एसोसिएटेड है. A work culture that celebrates difference cannot be built up, and there has to be self-reflection, self-criticism if we want to include everybody in और PWDs के लिए मेरा मैसेज ये है कि हमें मेहनत करनी है, हमें जब हमें जॉब भी मिले तो हमने देखिए सब कंपनीज जो आपको लेती हैं उनमें इतनी मैच्योरिटी होती है, समझ होती है कि अगर हम ये ले रहे हैं फिजिकल चैलेंज के साथ तो इनकी जो एबिलिटी है वो क्या है और उनको किस एरिया में लगाना है। इसलिए आप वहां पे पूरी, अगर आप चाहें तो पूरी मेहनत कर सकते हैं और आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। जिस पोस्ट पे आपको लिया गया है, अगर आप अपने वहां पे निखरते हैं तो आपको ऊपर आने का भी मौका मिलेगा। तो हमें सिंपैथी पे, दया पे नहीं रहना है कि हम ऐसे हैं तो हमें थोड़ा कंफर्टेबल भी रखिए, वो डिसाइड करेंगे और आपको उसमें पूरी ट्रेनिंग देंगे और आप अच्छे रिजल्ट्स ला सकेंगे सर।
So we thank all our panelists for this power-packed session. Aradhna ma'am, Priyanka ma'am, Shobha Ratna madam, Vinay sir, and Siddharthan sir, Guneet ma'am, and last but not the least, Sudhir.
That's a good surprise.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you all for such a wonderful
Thank
session.
you, Guneet.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sarthak. Thank you, Dr. Sudhir.
Thank you so much.
Thank